Hello and Happy New Year to you. You're all very welcome to our virtual open evening event. This panel discussion will cover the areas of civil engineering, quantity surveying and construction. My name is Glenda Conway, the Marketing Officer at IT Sligo. Joining me tonight are Trevor McSharry, the Head of Department of Civil Engineering and Construction, Christina McGrath, a graduate of Quantity Surveying, who is joining us tonight from New York. Thanks very much for being here, Christina. And also Enda McTiernan, who is a lecturer and also a graduate of our construction programmes. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Glenda.
For everyone tuned in here tonight, you're all very welcome. You can ask any question you may have in the Q&A box about this panel discussion, or any topic you may wish to get more information about as you consider your CAO options. A large team of academics and support staff are joining us tonight behind the scenes and are available to answer any questions you may have. All questions are anonymous, so don't be afraid to get any questions or concerns answered here tonight to help you make your choice. Or at any point in the future, you can get all the information you need from our CAO hub on our website at itsligo.ie/CAO. There you will also find all the contact details on how to get in touch with us. Okay, so let's get started. Trevor, I'll start with you if that's okay. Trevor, you are the Head of Department of the Civil Engineering and Construction Department. On the CAO, you offer programmes across civil engineering, quantity surveying and construction. Would you mind starting by giving us a brief overview of the sector and the job opportunities that's available to your graduates at the moment?
No problem, Glenda. Thanks for the opportunity. Hello, everyone. So I suppose the construction sector is very broad. It's basically every bit of the world that has been shaped by mankind, from roads, rail, various transportation means, to water treatment plants, buildings that might include hospitals, schools, hotels, factories. So everything that you see that has been shaped by mankind has involved construction professionals, whether that's civil engineers, quantity surveyors, or construction managers. So it is very diverse, as I said. And I suppose one of the key drivers at the moment in the sector is looking at improving sustainability to reduce our carbon footprint and hopefully ensure that we can continue and survive as a species on this planet. So that's a big driver of change in terms of sustainability. And then also with the growth in population in Ireland, there's a huge focus on capital investment in Ireland, and the government announced last year a significant strategy around Ireland 2040. So over the next 20 years, through the various national development plans, there's 164 billion euro going into new capital investment projects focusing on roads, housing, and various other, I suppose, projects that will improve our sustainability and address the climate challenge that we have in front of us. So I suppose as a result, there's a significant amount of graduates needed to go into the construction sector. And at the moment, there's a major deficit of graduates, and we're being constantly bombarded with requests from industry looking for work placement students or presenting job opportunities to our recent graduates. So it's a fantastic time for graduates to enter the construction sector, and for secondary school students to consider a career in construction. The shortage would focus around civil engineers who look at water, wastewater treatment plant operation, design and operation, the transportation infrastructure such as roads, highways, rail, structural engineering and geotech and soil engineering, which look at how buildings stand up in our environment. So also quantity surveying, and I know Christina is going to talk about that, a big shortage of those who manage costs and contracts for projects, as well as construction managers who have an oversight of site management and coordinate cost, schedule and scope of projects. Another, I suppose, important point is that as a result of this shortage of graduates, and there's a bit of a diversity issue within the construction sector at the moment, where it's 90% male dominated, and it's great to have Christina here on this panel. But there is, I suppose, a more appealing scenario now as a result of a focus of improvement in health and safety and sustainability. I think more females are now being attracted to a role in construction, and it's great to see Christina here as an exemplar of that. So that's a big point, I suppose, I'd like to make, because for us to address the major skills deficits, we need to tap into both male and female cohorts. And at the moment, it's mainly male dominated, and we are looking at increasing female appeal, which is great progress.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Trevor. Now, I know we will talk to end in a few minutes, but I believe the construction industry is evolving to embrace higher building standards and digital technologies. Industry is looking to our graduates to lead this evolution. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mentioned the sustainability challenges that we have, and that's driving us as construction professionals to reflect on how we can do things better, to reduce the carbon footprint, to manage projects more efficiently. So as a result, the building standards have increased over the last year or two, and all buildings now are NZ, which is near zero energy building rating, which is fantastic. It means that it's much cheaper to heat your building. They're much more economical, they're airtight, and a lot of the energy sources are now local, whether they're heat pumps or PV panels. So there's great progress in that area, and things are, I suppose, improving in terms of our impact to our CO2 footprint. And it also means that there's a huge amount of retrofit projects coming up through the National Development Plan. So there's significant, I suppose, developments there. So I suppose also there's a lot of digital technologies that have been embraced by the construction sector over the last 10 or 20 years. One of them, I suppose, is building information modelling, which has been incorporated into our programs in a big way. So we're modelling 3D buildings now and projects so that we can collaborate virtually together as professionals, making sure the design is robust. And then from a constructability perspective, you can easily manage your project from a schedule and scope and cost perspective using that model. So there's great innovations happening using digital technology. And there's improved processes as well, and cloud-based software packages for scheduling projects and managing cost and scope management. So it is evolving and becoming more attractive to females, as I said, and also to general workers, because it's a safer place to work. A lot of really exciting innovations, a lot of offsite manufacturing, and 3D modeling of buildings. So we're using virtual reality and augmented reality headsets now in our programs to give students a flavour for the exciting technologies that they're going to face in the construction sector. So I suppose as a result, the construction sector is looking at third level providers like IT Sligo to bring in new knowledge into the construction sector so that they can embrace these new technologies. And as a result, we've incorporated all of those technologies into our programs so that our graduates are ready to hit the ground running. And as a result, they're very sought after, and there will be a catalyst for this innovation and evolution that's happening in the construction sector.
That's fantastic, Trevor. Thanks very much. Sounds so exciting, and it'd be great to be part of it. I know you mentioned that there's different common elements across some of our different programs in IT Sligo, or even just touching on some of the computing different elements there. But there is common entry into our engineering programs that offer great flexibility to our students that the civil engineering program is part of. Would you mind just talking about that briefly?
Yeah, we were delighted over the last few years to collaborate with a number of departments so that we could coordinate a common entry engineering at level 7 and level 8. So it's quite unique for the region. There's no other provider in the region who has that. So it means that if you're not sure about what engineering stream you'd like to do, you can, I suppose, try out the different streams in our programs. So, for example, the level 7 common entry engineering has a common first semester, so you get a taste for the different streams in civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and also mechatronic engineering, and I think computing as well. So there's quite a nice diverse range of modules that you can pick, and then you select the stream that you want to go into after the first semester. And then also for level 8, we have a common 1 year. So year 1 is fully common. You can come in, sample all the different modules, and then at the end of that year, choose the stream that you'd like. And hopefully we'll be able to satisfy that stream for you. So it does give great flexibility to the student who isn't sure what to go for. And we've seen a strong interest in those two offerings from CEO students last year. And last year was the first year that we've run it. So we're expecting a really strong demand in those two offerings. And it is quite unique and very focused on the student and helping them make the right choice for them.
Fantastic, yeah, and it offers great flexibility, and just that they don't need to know straight away, leaving school, what it is they want to do. It does leave their options open. I know I'm just a little bit conscious of our time, but I'll just ask one last question, Trevor, quickly, if that's okay, and that's on professional accreditations. I know that many of your programs have professional accreditations. Just wondering how important that is in the sector. If you don't mind,
yeah. So I suppose construction can bring you anywhere in the world, and to allow you get anywhere in the world, like Christina in New York at the moment, you need to have professional accreditation for your programs. So, for example, with Quantity Surveying, you have the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland who certify our programs, make sure that they're cutting edge, they're at a standard that is internationally understood and recognised. And then with our engineering programs, Engineers Ireland recognise those programs. And for the construction programs, we have the Chartered Institute of Building. So that allows the students get reassurance that the quality of the programs is very high, that they'll be sought after, and that they have international travel opportunities, and it also allows them to progress to chartership in their profession, which is a significant milestone in their career.
Fantastic, that's great. Thanks, Trevor. Christina, I'll jump to you next, if that's okay. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, all the way from New York, as we've already mentioned. But you are a graduate of our Quantity Surveying programme. Would you mind just explaining what Quantity Surveying is for anyone that's not sure?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, believe it or not, but the way I describe it is pretty much the ability to do a quantitative takeoff to generate, your material list, your build list, and to determine like the cost factor of what your build is going to be in the future. As well as that, you have the surveying aspect where you can like lay out buildings, stake it out, and see where your build is going to go. So in the course, like they touch base on pretty much every one of those factors, so that whenever you do graduate or progress, you're able to use those skills and knowledge and bring it pretty much wherever you want to go. Be it like you could like specialize in surveying, or you could become specialize in the budgeting aspect, but you can combine them both either, and just to do both and be the quantity surveyor across the board.
Very good. That's great. I think my knowledge of quantity surveying now is as much with RT and trying to keep Dermot Bannon in line. But it seems to be such an important job within all construction projects now. And I believe that there's such shortages for the skills in that industry at the moment. Can you tell us why you chose quantity surveying at IT Sligo, Christina?
To be honest, I always had like a huge interest in construction, be it like architecture, buildings, or anything. So I always knew that I was going to go into construction, whatever module I was going to take. I did apply to quite a few different courses at the CAO at the time of my CAO application. And then whenever I did apply, it was during the time that we were kind of coming out of that recession, and things were booming and everything was moving along, and I got accepted into the course, and it felt right at the time, and I knew there was a shortage at that time as well, and I'd been speaking to a couple of people who'd done it, and I just went for it really, and it felt right, and I've never looked back since, and I was very happy with my decision.
That's great, Christina. And since graduating, can you tell us where your degree has brought you, if you don't mind just going through your career to date?
Yeah, so since graduating, I graduated in October 2015. I moved to New York in January 2016. So I didn't waste much time, but I had the ability to do that with the graduate degree. I did a J1 with like an internship visa, so I was able to do that through the course, and from there I worked for a subcontractor. It was a drywall, ceiling, concrete, fireproof, and masonry specialist. So that was a huge like range of. They covered a lot of like subdivisions in the one company. So I got a huge knowledge there, and really learned a lot, like high-rise buildings, fast-paced environment. It really took off. And then I since moved to a real estate development company where we design, build, buy all our materials, hire all our labor. I do like most of the budget and takeoffs and generate the budget for like the banks and then do all the purchasing. So two very different areas, but both equally is like important with the task in hand.
Massive, yeah, very good. And I'd say you're involved in big skyscraper developments to all different sizes over there in New York, is it?
Yeah. I've been to quite a few. One of my most like memorable one was the Tower of Freedom at the World Trade. We did the Tower number 3, so that was
Fantastic.
That was pretty impressive.
Fantastic, very good. I just conscious of time, I just might move on to Enda next, if that's okay. Enda, you are a lecturer on our construction-based programme, but you're also a graduate of the Sustainable Building and Project Management programme. So you've been in the shoes of the applicants considering to study this programme. Can you tell us why you chose to get into construction in the first place?
Yeah, I suppose initially for me coming out of school, it was really to work with my hands is what I was interested in at the time. And I suppose that the first protocol for me was to train as a carpenter. And that's what brought me into the industry initially. And I suppose as you get into the industry and you work in it for a couple of months or a year or two, you quickly realize how much satisfaction you get out of walking away from initially roof projects. And then even as a designer or an architect to design something and see it come to fruition on a site and be able to walk away from that is very satisfying. So I suppose satisfaction would have been probably the main one for me. I suppose as my career progressed, I did want to upskill, which brought me back to IT Sligo some 10 years ago now at this stage, and into the sustainable building course that's now on offer. I suppose for me coming back in from industry, and I wouldn't have had a huge academic background at the time, that course was perfect for me because it had such a mix of a practical element and it kind of eased you back into the academic side of things. And I eventually went on to do the project management degree as well. So it was a great route for me coming from industry back into the educational side of things. I suppose also working in the construction industry, and not an awful lot of people would say it, but it is a very social industry to come into. You're always working as part of a team, and I've friends that I've worked with for 20 years, and it's a really good social industry to work into.
Fantastic, very good. And I know our students often talk about how they love how they study something in class, that it's brought then into the computer labs and into the workshops, that the theory is kind of brought into the practical, so that they really fully understand the topic. And that does suit people, whether you may not be the most academically minded or whatever, that it gives people of all different varieties the options to develop and progress in their degree. But can you tell us a little bit about how our students learn and the facilities that are available to our students, please? Thanks.
Yeah, so I suppose for the students, it's important for us as lecturers to try and replicate the industry as much as we can, even through the students' learning. So I suppose we have state-of-the-art workshops and machinery shops within the college, within our own engineering block. We obviously have our lecture halls and our computer labs. So the way we try to put projects across to the students is to have them learn the theory in the classroom about what they're going to do practically, but also draw up their projects in the computer labs or be it by hand. So to have that theory in their head, to have them drawn exactly what they're going to make, and to bring them two elements together and then bring it down to the workshop, and we bring them through and physically cut them and put a project together. So again, it's very representative of when you go out to industry. Even as a carpenter, you're putting roofs or houses together based on plans that are drawn up and based on the theory of the design team. So it's important to bring that all together in the college lifestyle, I suppose.
That's it. And I know some of the projects that the students work on they're real life projects. They're building roofs and different things. Can you tell us briefly about a couple of the projects that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose over the 3 years of the course, we try to bring the students up level by level each year. So I suppose initially in year one, we try to bring their hand skills up to a certain level. So we do, I suppose, small scale roof projects, a stairs project. We're just in semester 2 now. We're actually going into a roof project that the students will have designed and drawn up and done all the theory on. Into second year, then I suppose we try to bring it on another step. So we might do a small scale commercial project like shuttering of a bridge or shuttering of a stairs, and again model and make that in the workshop. And then third year, as I suppose students are gearing up to head towards their industry experience in the course and also head out into the industry, we do full size models of, be it foundations, first floor junctions, or full scale roofing projects in third year. So I suppose when they're ready to move on to the project management degree or ready to move out into industry, it's they have the basic skills to hit the ground running and answer what the industry is asking of them, I suppose.
Absolutely. That's great. And that all leads then into, like, as Trevor touched on earlier, just the evolution of the whole industry and the higher building standards and the digital technologies and everything that's incorporated with that. You're teaching all that in the classroom, which is fantastic. So I think that's about all we have time for this evening. I'd like to thank you all for your contributions to this panel. It was extremely insightful. And to our visitors joining tonight, please continue to ask us any questions you may have. We will be live until 9 p.m. tonight, so you can find our contact details on itsligo.ie/CAO at any stage in the future, along with lots of information on our course options, our videos, virtual campus tour, and lots more. So thank you for joining us tonight, and good night.